What's going on, guys? Welcome to the 5th edition of the Gamefall Podcast. Number 5. I'm Kyle Sherman. He's John McVeigh.
How's it going?
And things, maybe starting to develop a little bit of a rhythm here. This is our second week in a row doing this weekly schedule thing. So I think I've ironed out all of our technical issues. So I know we promised Monday on the video that just posted yesterday, earlier today. So
so we're doing great.
This one will come out Monday. As will all future episodes. I think we got this going now, and excited to get into a little bit of a rhythm here, especially now as we remove ourselves from the craziness of E3.
Yes.
So as we have done the last couple episodes, and we will continue to, we'll start things off with what have we been playing lately. So John, I'll let you kick things off. What has had your attention here the last week?
Well, a couple games went on sale. I mentioned last week that I bought Battlefront because it was on sale. And then Ark was on sale, so I started playing that.
Ark Survival Evolved, for those keeping track.
So everything was on sale on the PlayStation. I don't know about other sites, but probably the same.
I think I saw that Ark was for sale on the Xbox as well.
And it was only till the 25th, so you already missed it. But
I think the Xbox will be done before this post as well.
Yeah, so it was dirt cheap, and it was the right time to jump in.
Yeah. More than 50% off.
More than 50% off.
We'll get more into Ark here later on. It'll be our main topic of the show, just what we've experienced on that so far.
Yeah, but the third game I've been playing this week, just started playing yesterday, was Mario Tennis, and that's about all I can show you because Nintendo and copyright laws. All that awesomeness.
Well, they're not stringent whatsoever.
No, not at all. So we're going to stop there with that, but it was fun. I got to play some of the online tournament. I didn't do the one with the special powers because it's cheap. That's not tennis at that point, and you're less of a man if you play that way. Not really. If that's what you like, that's great. I just like the regular tennis from Mario 64, and they have that option. I did one match online, a lot less leggy than the demo. And I lost, but it was a good match. Both games took a while for us to get. We went into tiebreakers at the end of each game, so it was really good.
Which is something we struggled with during the, beta test.
Because you can only do the power one, and you either got creamed, or you creamed the other person for the most part. There wasn't really a lot of ties.
It was hit or miss, yeah.
And that's basically what I've been playing.
All right, well, as for me, John did mention the sale for Ark Survival Evolved, and I also jumped on that. I kind of waited till the last minute, though, and
I may have influenced this.
Definitely. I mean, it was an appealing game, but once you started playing, you're sort of like, oh, it's sort of like Minecraft, but 3D.
Way better.
3D, and it has dinosaurs. I was like, oh, man, you're going after
dinosaurs is the big one.
My sort of thing, so... That one, I've been playing a lot of that this week. I also played a little bit more of the Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, which...
Excellent.
Progressing in the story. It's getting a little bit more enjoyable as you unlock more characters. And
is the fun coming back?
It's coming back, but it's still not quite as, fun as the first one. The first one was that first big open world Lego game that I'd played, and now this, would be the third, if you include the Lego Marvel's Avenger game.
The one I enjoyed was the Force Awakens one. I platinumed that one.
Didn't play that one, so I'm enjoying it. It's a game I can pick up anytime and knock out a level or two, and eventually I'll probably try to go back and collect all the characters, because it's not a game that necessarily requires a ton of time investment or a ton of focus to play and enjoy. So those were the big two this week. That's about it for me. Mostly Ark, and really enjoyed that, and we'll get into that again a little bit later. And with that, we'll now transition into the news for the week. As we've said before, our goal will be to bring you the top stories for the week, and sort of not necessarily all the stories, but the ones we feel have the most impact or stand out the most to us. And so we're kind of wrapping up what we've been playing. You mentioned Battlefront 2. We have a little bit of news related to that game, but you said you completed the campaign, and I wanted to hear your final thoughts on that campaign, and now, and as well as the multiplayer, as you've had a chance to feel that out a little bit.
So yeah, I feel like I went through most of the game and can talk about it I beat the original DLC, the original campaign, the DLC campaign, and tested out the single player multiplayer offline version, which is like, there's one area where you can make it just do regular matches like in old Battlefront, minus capture points, which I'm going to get into that in just a second. And then there's all these like trials from, like, if you played the PlayStation Portable version of Battlefront 2, they're similar to that, where they didn't have the main campaign, they had a bunch of like side mission things, and it's basically side mission stuff. Two things I like about multiplayer real quick are the Heroes mode is back. It's 8 on 8, I think.
Sounds right.
Let's see. Darth Maul was really fun to play as.
Your favorite.
My favorite
Sith
villain
Sith Lord.
is, who's not so much a Sith Lord anymore, which also brings me back to my point of Solo being a great film. I'm sorry, I'm just going to go off right here. This is really bothering me.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for.
Darth Maul is back! He is back in canon. Spoilers if you haven't gone. He is back, baby. In the cinematic universe, in the games, Darth Maul is a force to be reckoned with. Rocking that staff. I liked the powers that he had with him. Solo's an excellent film. If you think that it's not a good film, you've kind of been keeping your eyes closed when you watch every Star Wars movie, because it has a lot of points that have been touched on even in the originals. And that's where I'm going to end that one, because I'm probably going to make a lot of people mad. As far as the campaign goes in Battlefront, I just don't think they had enough time in the oven as far as the campaign goes, because there was lots of pacing issues I wrote down. So you start out as an elite, kind of like the Republic Commandos of the Empire, if you will. So it's a squad of like 4 people. You're Ida and Versio, a female. I know some people might have a problem with that. I have no problem with that. I thought that was actually really cool. And you're trained. You're better than a stormtrooper. You're even better than a shock trooper, or the ones that carry the jetpacks. You are the deal. You go in to clean up the messes, as it were, and do what the Emperor wants. You're kind of like Mara Jade, if you ever read any of the Legends Star Wars books. She's the left hand of the Emperor, and she's a spy, and she gets shit done. So, with all of this background, you would find it a little weird, and we're going to spoil this whole game now, that not 4 missions in, she's switched sides fully and is completely fine with killing any stormtrooper in her way. Now, they attack her home planet, which, that is a justification, but her struggle with switching sides happens really, really fast. Insanely fast. And I just thought that was a little odd. Some of the missions, they kind of ran a brief snippet. I wasn't entirely sure why I was supposed to be there, what I was doing. Part of that is I didn't listen. I had the volume down low. Gameplay was fun. Stormtroopers are still stupid, like they always are. And they even make a joke about it. The best character in the game, Shriv, he's an alien. Witty humor made the rest of the campaign enjoyable for me. The missions you go on are actually fun. And the droid is really cool. But pacing. And then the DLC, which I thought for the campaign was going to be like a lot longer, was practically 1 level. And they kill off this awesome character, Iden, that they made. She just dies. At the very end, I was like, wow, you're going to use her for one version of Battlefront? You're not going to... The whole campaign and the DLC could have been fleshed out more and made into 3 games.
So they went with the Rogue One ending there. Not to spoil anything, but if you haven't seen it, really, it's been out for 2 years.
The Rogue One ending.
The Rogue One ending, killing off your heroes. That's always a fun way to make your fans happy.
Actually, I like the Rogue One ending better. It made sense. She just died.
Yeah. Well, I just meant killing off your heroes, not the context in the greater universe. But so I guess from your assessment, final thing is just kind of underwhelmed a little bit by the campaign.
Underwhelmed by the campaign for final thoughts. and needed more time in the oven. Star cards, absolutely pointless. Dice, I don't think you quite understand what Battlefront means. I mean, in the past, you said that Pandemic Studios made your game. And I'm going to have to say, no, they did not. In fact, you aren't even replicating Battlefront at this point. Not even one iota. Yeah, you have stormtroopers and rebels. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. But I can't capture points right now, or at least I haven't found a mode that does that. I know it's coming in the DLC. And star cards. You have to get rid of them. They're absolutely pointless. I die by people with purple ones, which are the highest ones you can get, quite a bit, but then I can also kill them quite easily. So what does that mean? It's not needed. You don't need it. If you want us to wait to unlock things, just do what everyone else does and say, hey, get to level 20, you can unlock this new gun that's only slightly better, but in reality really isn't, because we had to balance the game so no one would complain. Star cards are pointless. They create frustration. They make people think that they need to play the game longer than they need to. It's not necessary. You already got their money. You don't need the star cards.
I agree. Star cards are stupid, and it's just unnecessary fluff on top of the game, in my opinion. Just based off Battlefront,
the fact
the
that
first one.
If you play offline, you can pick purple cards, any one you want, and then when you go online, it's just like, oh, you have to earn those. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, but sticking with the theme of Star Wars Battlefront 2, some more news, I guess, on where they're going here for the rest of 2018. They talked about the Clone Wars DLC at the EA Play press conference.
So they're going to have Obi-Wan and Count Dooku.
Yeah, as well as Anakin Skywalker.
Modes. Yeah.
And General Grievous.
General Grievous! My other favorite villain.
Always exciting. So, I mean, just some more, I guess, information. Starting in July, there's going to be a new Heroes Starfighter mode that's going to pit 2 teams of 4 against each other in famous Star Wars ships like the Millennium Falcon, like Poe Dameron's
So regular
X-Wing.
Heroes mode is you on the ground as a hero.
Right.
The Starship one is going to be that in their ships.
So the Millennium Falcon, I mean, you see them, you got Han Solo, Chewbacca.
So you're going to hear those voices. I think there's different... There's the Force Awakens version, which is probably Rey and Chewie. Then there's the regular one, which is Han and Chewie. And then there's the new Solo one that they added.
Well, there has to be 4 players in the ship, according to this.
Oh, it's going to be a little bit different.
2 teams of 4 players against each other. So, well, I guess 2 teams of 4, so it might actually just be
I think
one player
one
per
person per ship.
So maybe that's the case, and I just have poor reading comprehension, which...
Because when I played Starfighter Assault, you controlled the whole Millennium Falcon by yourself.
Yeah,
that would be a whole other mode that would be really hard to
That's probably
put
me
in.
just having a brain fart of a moment, but that's coming in July. You're also going to be able to turn your lightsaber on and off at will. Cool, some more cosmetic things. Lightsaber deflections will cost stamina, and
not do damage to your health, because right now it's doing damage to your health.
Okay, so it'll cost stamina, not health, I think, in the future.
Okay, well that would be fine.
According to me, and then improvements to the 2v2 PvP Hero Showdown mode are also on the way.
Nice.
Then in August, you'll be able to select trooper appearance based on designs from the Clone War era.
Mm-hmm.
Emotes and victory poses will also be available for purchase using credits or crystals. And there is, going forward, you're going to have, General Grievous, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they're working on a large-scale mode, whatever that means,
Probably
a new large-scale
something
mode.
like Walker Assault.
Hopefully something where you capture points. That's always been my favorite game mode.
That's a separate mode that they are going to bring in. Thank you for listening.
Mm-hmm.
But really, you need to talk to people who made it. You need to call up people who are in Pandemic Studios who made Battlefront 2.
The bad news, though, you looking forward to Count Dooku, you're going to have to wait until winter of 2018 for him and Anakin Skywalker, as well as the Geonosis map. It sounds like General Grievous will be in the fall.
Okay.
Not the winter. So, there you go. Beyond that, things are a little...
Things are a little iffy right
Iffy,
now. It's getting better. All the bugs that came out with the regular campaign were fixed when I played it, so that was really good. That's why I actually enjoy the campaign. Just thought it needed more time in the oven.
So hopefully those are all improvements. And with that, we'll move on to our next story, and this is kind of building off of last week's crossplay, I guess. Fiasco, yeah, that's a fair word to use. And that is Sony responding to the controversy of Nintendo and Microsoft allowing crossplay in games like Fortnite, Rocket League, and Minecraft. Those being the big three. And Sony kind of just said money was an issue at first, and now they've kind of heard some of the backlash over the last week. And Sean Layden said this week, quote, "We're hearing it. We're looking at a lot of possibilities. You can imagine that the circumstances around that will affect a lot more than just one game. I'm confident we'll get to a solution which will be understood and accepted by our gaming community while at the same time supporting our business." So it's a response, but not at the same time. So it's Sony saying, I guess, in my mind, we hear you, we'll see what we can do, but no promises.
I mean, that's exactly what it is.
So
it's basically like, hey, we listened. Kind of simmer down for a second and let us see if we can do anything. Basically, in my mind, the money issue, it's an issue for them when you're playing a PlayStation product and you see an Xbox person with a skin that you can get on Xbox. It creates, I don't know, maybe you want to go buy an Xbox and then maybe play games on it, and maybe they feel like you're not going to come back to them.
Well, and that was one concern I know Sean Layden had before, was seeing a game purchased on Xbox being used on PS4, vice versa, and, just the concerns, I guess, with the monetary aspects of people paying Microsoft and then using Sony to play it. But as far as I understand, you still have to purchase the game on individual consoles.
Unless
you can
it's
just
free to play like Fortnite.
Yes, Fortnite, yeah, obviously is something totally different.
But you're going to be using your V-Bucks on the system you play on. So, you're still going to be sending Sony cash if you're playing on a Sony system and you buy V-Bucks for the Sony console.
Well, and Sony's also getting your money to access the PSN, and Xbox is getting your money for Live.
That's where
and
your
Nintendo is going to get your $10.
It's $20 a year.
$20.
I believe it's $35 a year if you want to do the family plan, which allows you to connect 8 accounts to the internet.
I expect that when I purchase you to purchase that for me when I get a Switch.
Oh, you want me to get a family plan?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. It actually took all of my willpower today to resist, running out my credit card as we had to stop by Target before we recorded this here tonight for John's wife. John, show him what you got.
I'm going to be playing that next week.
So John very excited about that, but there was a couple switches underneath that stand with the game on it, and I was just sitting there, I'm like, man, it'd be real easy to put that on my credit card.
Yeah, there were.
But I held out.
Target still has some classic systems. They didn't have any of the Super Nintendos left.
They had the NES, a couple NESs though. So if you're interested, check out some of those retail stores. Does Shopko carry them? Because that's my secret stop. And I don't know why I'm putting this out into the internet. But Shopko, man, they always came through in the clutch for me.
Yeah, so Shopko's been a little weird with Nintendo products lately. They were burned by the Wii U. They might be selling the Switch now, but they didn't sell it at the start.
Well, all I can tell you is it was impossible to get a Nintendo Wii around Christmas time, right after it came out.
It was impossible for 3 years.
I go to Shopko. They had just gotten a shipment. I get one.
Yes.
PS4 launch. Wasn't sure I was going to have the money to purchase one launch day. I call Walmart. They're like, well, we can't guarantee you, one. Mm-hmm. And then I call Shopko. They're like, we have 6.
Get in line.
And I was like, are there people in line? They're like, no. They're like, but I'd get here early.
Yep.
So my cousin and myself, neither of us who had reserved it, but both wanted one, go there at, what was it, 6:30 a.m., I believe?
You debated staying overnight outside the store, decided you would sleep and go back at 6
in the winter. Yeah, went back at 6 in the morning. Numbers 2 and 3 in line. Shopko coming through the clutch. So it will always hold a special place in my heart. Shopko will. And it will also always be a place I check if somebody else is sold out of something. Mm-hmm. But we digress a little bit here away from the news. Special plug to Shopko. They're not paying us. That's just
He just likes Shopko.
I just like Shopko. What can I say? And I had to pull the attention away from Target because I used to work there and have feelings about that.
He's not necessarily a Target fan. Target's been good to me as a consumer. We'll put it that way.
As an employer, mixed feelings.
Anyway,
Anyway,
we won't get into that.
yeah, that's a story for another day, and hopefully won't get me in trouble with Target. So moving on to our next item here, PlayStation Plus and Xbox games with gold. Games for the month of July announced. We'll start with PlayStation Plus free games. PS4, we have Heavy Rain coming, Absolver, and Call of Duty Black Ops 3.
If you didn't already grab it, because it's
Yes.
been free for a week.
It will be free through July, and then you'll have to,
Which was
pay
generous
for it
of them,
again.
because normally they don't allow you to have 3 main PS4 games.
We're going to have another Call of Duty game here soon anyway.
Exactly, so it's no skin off Activision's back.
Although I will say I like the Black Ops series a lot better than I like maybe going back to World War II.
And Black Ops 3 is multiplayer on the campaign, so if you like multiplayer campaigns, do it.
John and I enjoy. And then on the PS3 you have Rayman 3 HD, Deception 4, The Nightmare Princess.
Rayman 3?
Rayman 3 HD.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to download that.
And rounding it out, 2 Vita games, Space Overlords and Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma.
That second one I think is a graphic novel game.
Oh, interesting.
That's
well,
about all I know.
Never heard of either of them, so those are your free games for the month on PS Plus. And on the Xbox side of things, games with gold. If this ever loads.
What days do those come out? Because I know they stagger their releases.
I have your dates right here.
Okay.
And this is what you have coming starting July 1st. This one going the whole month is Assault Android Cactus.
That actually looked fun.
Looks entertaining. It's a very stylized, cartoonish kind of anime, more 3D.
You got like these chicks with these mech suits, it looks like.
Yeah. That's all month on Xbox One. And then out right now through August 15th is Death Squared, also on Xbox One. And here's your split ones for the month. Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown is going to be July 1st to the 15th on Xbox 360 and Xbox One. And then you're going to have Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Conviction in the second half of the month, July 16th to the 31st on both the 360 and the Xbox One.
You owe it to yourself to not only tag this as purchased, but to actually play.
Yeah, the Splinter Cell game's always entertaining, and
Conviction was good.
That's one I'm looking forward to downloading and messing around with when the time is appropriate. One more set of games here coming out this month, and this will be the games coming out on the Xbox Game Pass. 9 new titles coming in July. This one is going to be headlined by 2 big Bethesda titles. Fallout 3 and The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
Really hated that one.
Oblivion?
Oblivion, yeah. It was terrible. I didn't even explore that one. I got like halfway out of the gate in the dungeon, walked around. I'm sorry, I got to the first like rift thing, and I was done.
I thought Oblivion was the one where he ran around killing all the merchants and then kind of...
Morrowind.
Oh, that was Morrowind. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm mixing up which Elder Scrolls game you wreaked havoc in.
Morrowind was before, but...
Yes, I'm aware.
Yeah.
That was 3?
3.
3. Okay, so also coming out to the Xbox Games Pass this month, Abzu, July 1st, Dirt, these are all July 1st unless I say otherwise. So Abzu, Dirt 4, Zombie Army Trilogy, Shadow Complex Remastered, Human Fall Flat, and then coming out on July 10th, Bomber Crew, and July 11th, Warhammer Vermintide 2.
That's actually a new release.
Yeah, well, I mean, any of those
Because
new...
Vermintide was a new... it actually is a fun game, so the second one should be even better. If you like Warhammer, or you like first-person shooting stuff, and you have Game Pass, which is how much?
$9.99 a month.
Check it out.
But also, I mean, coming with those games coming in, there's a couple titles leaving. So, if you want Resident Evil 6, jump in there.
Speaking of Game Pass, you download the game, so there's no streaming, so there's no lag time.
It's always nice.
And, in that vein, Sony has finally woken up and said they're now going to allow downloading instead of streaming if you own a PlayStation Now subscription.
That actually be really nice because, especially if you're in a place that has spotty internet or something like that, or maybe I want to take my PS4 on the go with me out to my lake cabin.
It's a single player game.
Yeah, and this will be something that we'll have to work around next week is I'll be out at the lake cabin for the 4th of July for the next week plus, so we'll have to shoot somehow.
My next game can go anywhere I go.
I know, but I'm just talking about shooting our next episode.
Oh, okay.
You know, I have other priorities. There's these things called books that you can use to entertain yourself too if you can't take your stuff to go. I don't know, crazy. Reading things.
Do it. It's worth it.
It's good for your brain, supposedly. But
proven, not supposedly.
I don't have the research in front of me. I can't quote.
You're reading right now. Well, you were reading.
I'm going to get back to the reading. So our next story here is going to be one that I know that you and I are going to be interested in following as it moves forward, and that would be Amy Hennig confirming that she has left EA and will be starting her own new independent studio.
Finally.
And obviously Amy Hennig, near and dear to our hearts as gamers with her work at Naughty Dog, and then
on the Uncharted series.
Yes, on the Uncharted series.
And what is Kane Lynch and...
Kane and Lynch?
Kane and Lynch? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
There were a couple of games before.
That series. But, I mean, the big ones were obviously the Uncharted games, but we had high hopes for her game with EA.
And they canned it.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Thanks, EA.
Not really. Because this was in the era when they thought they could charge, subscriptions after we had to pay the game. And now they're finding out that's not really working for Star Wars.
I think it'll be a good...
So are they going to can the other game that they replaced Amy Hennig's game with?
Who knows at this point. I'm not holding my breath in terms of these EA Star Wars games.
I'm just really upset about 1313 now.
You will never let that go. That looks so exciting and great and, whatever. So hopefully Amy Hennig, if she can do her own thing, she'll obviously have no trouble finding distribution. I mean...
Yeah, my only question is how big does she want her team to be?
Exactly, and how much time she wants to put in developing a game. Obviously, she's going to have to start from scratch, build everything, so it'll be at least, if she's going for a big title, 4 years before we see anything.
Unless she decides to hook up with Unreal Engine 4.
Yes, but you still have to build all your base assets and
you do
all that stuff. So it'll be years before we hear anything in depth about what she's doing, unless she's Hideo Kojima and just puts out the weirdest ass teaser trailer in the world that we got for Death Stranding.
And gameplay, and yet nobody knows. I'm a little concerned this game's going to be good at this point.
So, I mean, having said, confirming this, I've not worked at EA since January, technically, legally. I get along with all those people. I consider even the guys on the exec team my friends. I never got the chance to announce that I'm not at EA, so I need to just pull off the Band-Aid at some point, but also had nothing to announce. It makes it sound like I went home, but I'm doing all this stuff, working on all kinds of things. So... well, I guess here's our answer to the studio question, and that is Hennig says she's currently working independently after starting a new studio that will ideally become 6 to 8 people, 15 at the most, and is currently in the early stages working on VR projects. So...
Not going to be a giant AAA game, but it should be an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously she came up with some great stuff for the Uncharted series, and hopefully comes up with... If she can come up with a compelling VR story-based game, awesome.
And some people, they were born way later, and they need to know that most games back in the day weren't made by that many people.
No.
So when she started, teams weren't big. They weren't these massive 3 studios across the globe culminating together on a project with several, 200-300 plus people who also have chefs because they got to work late. It just wasn't that. It was like a team of people that fit in an actual office at one point.
Yeah, well, and I think, the Naughty Dog studio, obviously, when she started there, was a lot smaller.
They tried to stay together. They didn't like being split up.
Well, yeah, and it was a lot smaller than it is currently now that they have 2 teams working independently, in a sense.
I think they're still in the same building.
Yeah, but I mean, there's now 2 teams. It used to be 1 game at a time. Now they're working on multiple projects.
And every once in a while they come back together for 1 game.
So, as you can hear, maybe John's dog saying hello to the
From the stairs.
viewers, listeners at home, whatever have you. And speaking, you mentioned Mario Tennis Aces earlier on. Some new characters coming in here later on, and that's exciting. Diddy Kong joining the mix, Birdo, and Koopa Paratroopa.
So I think that's Koopa Paratroopa's first appearance in any of the multiplayer games as a playable character.
Yes, and of course this will also join Koopa Troopa and Blooper, who are also going to be joining the roster. So that's exciting as you get more and more characters in from the Mario universe.
Yep.
Because
everybody
loves to unlock new characters and try new characters and stuff. I always tended to prefer the balanced players. I didn't like to go too much power because then you were slow. I didn't like speed because I like to do kill shots too.
Yeah, I always picked the medium-sized,
Yeah, well, now that you have Mario Tennis Aces, I may steal your Switch.
You may pry it from my cold dead
I may steal it in a sense and just play it briefly while
I'm sure we're going to play it after this podcast.
There's a very real chance of that. Or we might try some Ark Survival Evolved split screen because we enjoy that sort of thing if you haven't listened to the first 4 episodes, and that's something that's very exciting to us, and it's something we're excited to try. We've done our own things. I've gone out and explored. John has stayed in one place. We will get to this in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself, John. Why are you letting me do this? Why are you letting me do this? We have 2 more, count it, pieces of news before we move into that. And this one, we'll keep it short.
These ones can be combined, can't they?
Kind of.
They're going to segue nicely.
But they will segue nicely. And this first one, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot believes that streaming is going to open the door to more people in terms of gaming, and believes that the gaming community will grow to 5 billion players in the next decade.
Are you crazy? There's 8 billion of us. Is that right? 8 billion?
Sounds right.
8 billion of us on the planet.
Is it 9 now?
It might be up to 9. But you think more than half of them are going to have the streaming capability in a decade? The United States is giant, and there are still people that are on dial-up. I hope you're right. That would be cool. But, I mean, geez. It's a lot of people. Are you counting puzzle games only? Like Bejeweled and Candy Crush?
Yeah, mobile games.
Because those people have a wildly different experience of games than,
console
people like
gamers. Me. Yeah, and there's computer, there's PC gamers.
There are all kinds of things.
I think it's more of a general thing, because I think if you count all the mobile games and stuff, I think you could probably say there's billions of people already. But in terms of console gamers, it's still a fairly limited crowd.
Yes.
In a sense. If you look at the overall picture. So, I mean, that's an interesting thing for him to say. It'll be interesting to see, when people say gaming is dying and, blah, blah, blah.
Gaming's not dying. It's just changing.
It's not. It's evolving, hopefully for the better. We'll see. And our final news story.
Yes.
Sticking with streaming, and this one kind of, you and I raised both of our eyebrows. Google is reportedly working on a gaming streaming service as well as hardware.
Yeah, so probably a box for their streaming.
Yes, to hook up to their, hook up to your system.
You know anything about Google, it's probably not going to have a disk drive, and I don't even think it'll probably have a hard drive. I bet it's going to use their cloud stuff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're just getting into this, so there's... It's interesting though. I mean, because technically, Google does have a platform in YouTube that does streaming now. It's still pretty limited, the YouTube gaming scene. Obviously, Twitch still reigns supreme in the streaming.
Twitch was built for streaming.
Yes,
YouTube kind of added it on.
It's coming along. We'll see where it goes, but Google, they can come in with some pretty solidly priced. Pretty solidly priced hardware. If they can make it a little bit cheaper for streamers to get involved.
Pretty cheaper.
And who knows, if this continues, we may start streaming. Just to see the ridiculous things we get up to. But
and it's not an Amazon Echo that's going to magically send your conversation somewhere you don't know about. They said they fixed it.
Allegedly.
I'm not going to test it.
I haven't hooked my Echo back up in a while, but that's because I may be moving again soon. Who knows?
And I slightly made him paranoid.
Who cares? I don't say anything of note anyway. I don't know, I'm just talking to hear my own voice, apparently.
Just don't ever say your social security number out loud.
No, of course I'm not going to say it out loud. So,
speaking of numbers,
how
many dinosaurs do you have?
0.
Why?
Ark Survival Evolved is what we're talking about. John is the master of the segue. That'll become more and more apparent. I have no dinosaurs.
Tell me what happened.
I had one. You tamed one first.
I found out this game tells you nothing.
It's very challenging. I've done some research now, and I feel more confident. We've played at 2 very different styles. John has stayed static, one place. I've moved around.
Yes.
So, because maybe I didn't realize that things regrow. I didn't realize the trees regrew. The boulders reappeared. They kind of come back. It takes some time, but they come back. And so I was like, well, I've tapped this place out. On to the next.
Which is how Minecraft works.
The Minecraft treatment. And so I did that. And so I wasn't really focused on taming animals. I wanted to get my level up, make myself stronger first, and build stronger structures, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I finally got around to doing it. It was quite the battle with the turtle. I forget its actual name.
Something Chanamib. I don't know. Starts with a C.
A lot of them do.
Giant tortoise.
Yeah,
that's all you need to know.
Tortoise, spiky shell. I tamed it. Named him Samson.
Excellent.
And then I ran into a chicken dinosaur. I don't know how else to call it. I'm bad with names. I suppose I could look it up, but...
For now, we're going to call it the chicken dinosaur.
I'm too lazy. And that thing killed me 2 hits.
What level was it?
20.
Couldn't even see.
21, I think.
The levels are kind of hard to see because the text is small and yellow, which is not a helpful text color.
No, or it's green. It varies.
It's green for your tamed dinosaurs.
Yeah. They're sort of pastel colors. And so, it killed me pretty quick. And right as I respawned, I get a notification. It says, Samson has died.
Thank you. I was wondering how I'd find out if a dinosaur died when I wasn't by it. Now we know.
So R.I.P. Samson. You lasted 30 minutes.
What did you do with Samson?
Oh, I hacked him to pieces and got all my stuff back.
You sad, sad little man.
So taming dinosaurs not gone well for me so far, but building things has. I'm up to stone houses now, and I now started making metal.
Kyle went crazy. I streamed it once, and then the next day he bought it, and 2 days later...
I bought it that night, because that was the last day of the sale.
Okay, well, when I talked to him the next day, he bought it, and then a day later, he was already over a level I was, and then he's steamrolled me in terms of actual level.
Oh, things you do when you don't have much going on.
Yeah, but nothing's really explained, so we've kind of been talking back and forth while we're playing. I've been staying on my little island, so I've actually found out that yes, things do regrow, yes, rocks come back, all that greatness. And animals actually have a walking pattern in the wild. They have a mating pattern in the wild. They have a herd culling together, so normally there's only maybe 1 to 2 dodos on my island at any given time. Sometimes there's not even one. And then one day, there was 30, and they were all trying to mate. So I got a lot of meat and hide out of those babies. And then these turtles start showing up. And I tamed the first one. I knocked it out, and I knocked it out on accident. I didn't even know I was trying to knock it out. I was just trying to kill it to get meat because I was hungry.
Did it almost kill you? Because Samson put up quite the fight.
I had a quarter of my health left by the time it had went down. And then I saw this thing that's inventory. I'm like, wait, whoa, what's going on? And then I read it and it goes... feed it, put food in its mouth if you want to tame it. So I found out that berries work good for the tortoise, and you needed a lot of them. And so I was going all over the island grabbing berries, running back, and then I finally tamed him. I named him Chubbs. And yeah, it's a female, and I know Chubbs is not a female name, but I didn't realize it was a female at the time, and so Chubbs it shall be.
See, I named mine Samson because, he's big, strong, he could carry a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And like Samson, he had a fatal flaw.
Yeah. Sad. You've built how many buildings?
His metaphorical hair was cut, and he lost his strength. How many buildings have I built? That's what you want to know.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 4, but it could be 5.
Did you rebuild any?
Negative.
Okay, so I built 2 thatch huts on opposite ends of my island. And then, once I was able to unlock wood, I've been rebuilding my main thatch hut as a wood 2-story fortress. Because my goal right now, there's a giant brontosaurus on my island. I don't know what he's doing there. There's not much on my island. It's a little small thing for him. But I want to try and take that bad boy down.
Like I said, my goals were a little bit different. Mine was kind of move along. I wanted to get to the southwestern corner of the map, and that's kind of where I've been hanging out a little bit since, and there was a bunch of rocks there, but not a lot of metal. So I actually might venture back over by where you're at, because the maps are the same.
Apparently my island is a metal spot.
Yeah, so I might head that way, get more metal, because that's what I need. And I just like to build. That was my thing with Minecraft too.
I kind of wish there was a creative mode.
Yes and no. And that's something I've discovered with Minecraft as well, is you and I, when we first started played on survival mode, had to earn what we made. And had to like be very thoughtful with the way we did things and be very careful when we were mining, because sometimes you get doused with lava and that's not good.
Yeah, you die.
Many times. And then I tried it with creative mode, where I was able to build whatever I want, and it's fun, but there's just not the same level of satisfaction as you get out of...
You don't get attached. You don't feel like you have to go back to that save.
Yeah. And it's like, well, I'll just build something else, or, whatever. I can fly between things. Like, I made a crazy-ass complex in creative mode, and it's cool, but it would have been so much more badass if I had done it in survival mode. There's a lot of golden bulbs, so that probably wouldn't have happened.
You probably wouldn't have been able to build the fortress in gold. You would have had to do something else.
Yeah, but there's lava floors. It's whatever. But back to Ark. Back to Ark. I guess a creative mode would be cool, but I think there's something more rewarding about the survival mode, the base mode, if you will, because I was trying to build a stone hut, and I was like, oh, well, I'll build this, smelter sort of thing so I can make my metal, but I wasn't going to build walls. I just wanted a platform I could put it on.
Yeah.
No. That chicken dinosaur just wrecked it. I was livid. It cost 125 stone, 65 hide.
Ouch.
And yeah, so I was not a happy camper, and I was like, you're dead to me.
Chubbs' saddle was 170 hide.
Yeah, well, not a problem anymore. As I discovered, you make the bolas, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Get those stones on the string.
3 stones with leather, and on smaller dinosaurs, you can use it to...
Trip them up and keep them immobile.
Keep them immobile, and then you just stab them over and over again, or hack them, whatever
Knock
you prefer.
them out if you want to tame them, I guess.
Yeah, so leather has not been an issue for me since then.
Excellent.
Which is nice. But I think, like other times, I killed everything, and it took a little while for everything to come back, and so I started running low on meat, but then everything kind of came back. It takes about 5 to 7 days, I think, for
my island
things
is
to come back.
Pretty thin on animals that I can actually use. There's lots of triceratops, but they kill me every time, and the bolas don't work on them.
Yes, there is a next level of bolas, though, as I learned. I looked a little bit ahead.
I was thinking I could build this giant spike wall and then shoot the triceratops and run behind the wall, because they're kind of dumb, so they want to charge you, and then they could run into the spike wall. And I was thinking that would be a good thing to do.
Could do that. What about building it all the way around him and he's trapped?
They walk a little too fast for that.
Okay.
But that is a great idea.
You could,
If I could just, feed them and not have to attack them first.
Some of the animals you can do that, just feed them. I mean, the smallest animals.
Yeah, really small. This is kind of a dark concept, actually. I have to beat the animal. Okay?
Damn near beat it to death.
And then, because I've beaten it unconscious, I'm now putting food in its mouth. I don't know how it's chewing the food. I'm pretty sure I'm just choking the animal at this point. Somehow it decides that it likes me and is now my best friend. This logic is a little flawed. And I don't think PETA would approve.
You knocked me out, but then you fed me. We're good.
I love you. That one didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I guess the next thing I want to try is trank arrows. Just put them to sleep.
You can do trank arrows. If you've knocked them out, you can give them trank berries.
Yes, to keep them knocked out while you shove food in their gullet.
Gently caress them and say, I'm not going to hurt you.
But, yeah, I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. We've played it 2 different ways. I might stay put a little bit longer. I'm one of those people that like to be over-leveled before going to the next area. I don't like to get my ass kicked.
Which is interesting because you were moving around really fast, and I was trying to over-level myself by saying, if I can take this Triceratops out by myself, then I'll be good to go out.
See, you went big, though. You tried to take out a big dinosaur.
Yeah, I know. So it's going to take a while.
Good. Small is good. I mean, the biggest thing I've taken out is one of those parasaurs, the sort of duck-billed dinosaurs that like to run away. Hook them with the bolas.
The duck-bill with the...
Yep. And then you just stab them 8 times or so. 9, 10. I don't know.
We now know how to knock down the flying pteranodons.
Yes, so the pteranodons also can be immobilized with the bolas, so...
And you can make a saddle for them and fly.
Oh, yeah.
That's our next mission.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess, what are our final thoughts on the Ark?
Thoroughly enjoying it. So far, glad I just purchased the base version, because...
Base version's enough.
You can spend a lot of time...
Insane amount.
Playing this game. Like, I've covered just the coastline, the western third of the coastline, and just gone around the corner, and
there's over 100 plus dinosaurs, Kyle.
Yes, and there's 101 levels
and an ocean to explore.
Yes, you can eventually dive deeper and
all
that stuff. So there's a volcano to explore, there's snowy mountains, there's
3 giant bosses at the end of the game. I looked at the trophy list.
Who didn't?
There's nothing.
The ultimate life form, which I went to one of the...
Is it God? Is it Kratos?
It is not Kratos.
Ah, okay.
I won't spoil it for you. I went to one of the places where you can activate the...
And saw him and then died?
No, I just saw what you can activate.
Ah, okay.
So, it's interesting. We'll keep playing it. We'll keep you informed. Final thought from me here, and I'll let you give your final thought, is we're coming up on the summer, and this is the perfect time to go back and play some games you maybe haven't beaten, or
maybe
get a new game, maybe like Ark, that
is
gonna last a long time, and it's a game you can pick up and play for a couple hours, or you can play for 30 minutes. It's a game that you can pick up, put down. There's not a lot of investment, there's no story investment in it, so that's a good summer game if you're busy, if you're on the go, if you're traveling, what have you. So that's my favorite part about summer is, I miss new games coming out, but it allows me to catch up and invest some time into games like Ark, and I'm really looking forward to playing it for the next couple of months as we await the arrival of Spider-Man, because that's the first big fall game.
The only fall game?
Not the only one. Assassin's Creed, man.
Oh, yeah. Red Dead 2. I'm not going to play it.
It'll be cool. Maybe if it's on sale, I'll grab it.
I didn't play the first one.
Me either. And just Rockstar games can be a lot big and time-consuming, and
Ark is already good enough for big and time-consuming, which is back to my thoughts. So, Ark, I actually appreciate all the little details, like the respawning timers, the mating cycle they put in, the roaming of the dinosaurs, if you will. I now noticed that the raptors on the one side of my island aren't always there, so I might be able to go attack the parasaur on the other side without getting hit by a raptor. I'm going to leave Chubbs at home, though, because I tried to do that the first time. Chubbs almost died. It was really scary. I want to play more. Those are my final thoughts.
It's always a good sign when you want to play more. All right, well, that'll do it for episode 5. Already at number 5 of the Gamefall podcast.
Yep.
He's John McVeigh.
He's Kyle Sherman.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.